Today I want to show you how my battles, my first 6 sets in the Fantasy League went. Well, they weren't my first 6 sets. I started out playing Azu with Escavalier and Lucario in the back, but I soon realized that a lot of people are playing Azu lead or Registeel lead, and as I was looking through the Pokemon I've built for the Great League, I realized that Dedenne is play against both those, so I ran it and thought I'd see how it does. This was the first battle. Shield the Ice Beam, try and knock it out. So I have Switch, which is great. Yeah, Stunfisk is a very hard counter to Dedenne, but I get a lot of damage in, and Azu should be able to soak even 2 Earthquakes. It's no issue. Here comes the second one. And there is Sandsled. The funny thing here is, first of all, he does have Drill Run. So I Thunder Shock, and I realize that I had the wrong Azu on the team. I meant to run Play Rough Ice Beam, but for some reason I was running Hydro Pump Azu, and I changed that immediately, of course, after. As you can see, I was at 2,353 ELO. After my 6 sets, I will be more than 200 above that, 200 points above that. It was amazing how well the sets went, and I have to say I misplayed so often. I think a better pilot could have gotten even more out of this team and gained probably more than the 200 ELO that I gained in the 6 sets. I was lucky here that the opponent switched to Turtonator, because the Escavalier doesn't do well into it at all, and Dedenne, I mean, it can take some HP, but it's also not a great matchup for it, but it's worthwhile staying in if it's the lead. So as Togedemaru comes back in, which is also not an amazing lead, but Wild Charge and Fell Sting are both being resisted on Dedenne. It's no issue. I also chose to run Aerial Ace on Escavalier. Just I didn't know what I would Mega Horn, and Mega Horn seemed to be the suggested move on PV Poke, so I just decided to put Aerial Ace on it because it does charge slightly faster than Drill Run, and I think there was 1 or 2 battles where I won because I had Aerial Ace, where I wouldn't have made it to 2 Drill Runs, but I made it to 2 Aerial Aces to take the shield and then take the final shield and then defeat the opponent. There were a lot of Stunfisks around, which I was surprised by, because Lucario and Escavalier together with Azu seemed like such a popular team, and I think Stunfisk doesn't have the greatest matchup into any of those Pokemon. So Registeel comes out. It's unfortunate. He's going to be able to charge a lot of energy here. I have to come in with a... Oh, I choose to soak a charge attack on Dedenne without shielding, so that I can then have a shield remaining for Escavalier. Yeah, Haxorus was... you don't want it on Escavalier whenever possible. And I realize, I think here, that this battle is over. On top left, after I take both shields. So that was the 3rd battle, was it? 2 and 1 up to now in the set. Turtonator in the lead. That's ideally where I'd want to see it, because if it sneaks onto my Escavalier in the back, I'm in big trouble. I suppose this is probably right. Dedenne would probably be preferable on Slurpuff, but I mean, it is how it is. I just throw ice beams to get to moves quicker and just get damage down on it. Great thing about Azu is it can always tank a move, although I get the defense drop there and try to switch on good timing. Well, not on good timing for switching, but on good timing for throwing an attack. Just miss out on the discharge. I think this is going to be another loss. Don't know if I would have had great play into this team either way. Throw the aerial ace, which is just, that's what I mean. My piloting was horrendous of this team. I think a better pilot could have probably even gotten more out of this team. Yeah, catches the ice beam. Well, catch. The ice beam was intended for Turtonator anyway, but yeah. That's the second loss, so I think set 1's at 2-2 now, this final battle of the first set. Empoleon, yeah, I saw that lead quite frequently. Like Dedenne, I don't think it does very well in the general meta of the Fantasy Cup, but it's just a really good lead because it forces the opponent to switch in most situations. I have faced Stunfisk leads or even Excadrill leads, which aren't amazing, but I still manage to win in the end sometimes, not all of the battles of course, because as I said, my piloting is horrendous at times. So I have Dedenne back on Empoleon. There's a Sand Slash in the back, so I think the plan here is to hope. Oh no, I switched for some reason, but I mean, this is going to take 3 charge moves I think to... Oh, he has Bulldoze, and I think he didn't even fully charge that. I think, yeah, that was weird. This was just a weird theme I was facing. I think the Bronzong ran Bulldoze also, which is just strange. Bulldoze takes me out, have a discharge loaded. That's the end of set 1. 3-2 overall. As you can see, it wasn't the best start to running Dedenne, but so gained, what was that, not much elo, around 30 points or something. Right. This is the second set here. Registeel lead, which, you know, I think it's neutral. Dedenne can win it with shields just because Registeel takes forever to charge its moves. As we see Flygon switch in. It's great to get Flygon on Azu, but I have to say I misplayed this matchup too often. It would be such an easy matchup for Azu to win, but for some reason I just refused to shield whenever I was in this matchup. I even get really bad timing there, or yeah, I throw at a bad time, and then I think the Flygon has 2 moves charged here. No, only 1. But Registeel doesn't want to face either of the 2 of my Pokemon here. Oh, a great catch by the opponent there. I catch back on Dedenne. Try the Thunder Shock down. Works out for me. get to one discharge. Didn't throw the second, and I don't shield. Like, as I said, oh, right, brutal swing, but oh, I think I decided I didn't want to take any shields and just farm it down, but yeah, got the win in the end, even though it was quite lucky. So that's 1-0 in the second set. Dedenne, very bad lead here, and great swap, as I learned later on, is I should swap to Escavalier when there's a Stunfisk lead and not into Azu. As you will see later on in later sets, I almost always lose the battles when I safe swap to Azu when G-Fisk was in the lead. Yeah, I didn't want to take or have to shield another player off, even though I'd probably easily live it. And when he comes back in with Stunfisk, or when they come back in with Stunfisk, I was wondering why they would do so. I shield the first move just because it's most likely to be the Earthquake, and then I see Registeel in the back, and I think if the opponent had just come in with Registeel into Azu, this would have been an easy win for him. But they chose to make it interesting, so I'll entertain the battle. I think I just live that, get the discharge off, which will knock out the Registeel. I switch back into Azu, get one Ice Beam, need another one for the win. Earthquake will knock me out, opponent gives up. Yeah, see, even in bad lead situations, the Dedenne always seems to have play against at least one of the opponent's Pokemon, and if I can somehow manage to get it onto it, that's great. Here we see an Excadrill lead, which is terrible for Dedenne again. I switch to Escavalier, which again is the right decision, rather than switching to Azu, because I think around set 5 and 6 I start switching to Azu in those situations, and I always lose the battle, which is not great. I decide to go for switch here because I need to get Dedenne off Excadrill. Aerial Ace, the opponent doesn't expect me to have Aerial Ace, so shields the move, not counting. I am at a quite, well, low elo in the 2300s when I started this run, so I don't expect my opponents to be world class. And I get Dedenne onto Registeel again, which is a matchup out of all of the, well, I would have preferably had it on Azu, but it's definitely the second best matchup for Dedenne against the opponent's team. I actually can't remember how most of these sets end up, or which games I won or lost. As I played the games last night, opponent decides to give up. So Escavalier, I like to put the safe swap on my team at the bottom just because of how I tap. It's easier to reach quickly, so Escavalier in this team is the safe swap. I get an amazing lead into Azu. Opponent brings out Galarian Stunfisk, which I bring my Azu into, suspecting, I think, that there's a second steal in the back and keeping Escavalier around for that. So Escavalier safe swap, Azu is the counter swap to things that has good matchups and to come out with a player offloaded. So this will unfortunately mean the opposing Azu will have a play rough loader for Dedenne, which won't take it out, but it will do probably half its HP. Yeah, just about. And the opponent has Melmetal in the back, which I think this was the singular battle I saw it in. Didn't even run, was it double Iron Bash, or what the move's called? Don't know why Aerial Ace here, making some silly calls with the Aerial Ace. So, but I get to the final Aerial Ace, and if I remember correctly, there's a discharge. Oh, well, it was one off, but was enough to throw it into Azu to get yet another win. I think that puts me at 4-1 for the set. Final battle of the second set now. Haxorus lead. This is... I don't know why the opponent switched into a flying type when I have an electric type. But the Haxorus matchup, yeah, it is definitely in Dedenne's favor. For some reason I always went straight play rough in it, which gives Haxorus a lot of time to whittle down Dedenne's HP. But I mean, the opponent has two Pokemon weak to Dedenne there. I come in with Azu and the opponent gives up. I think, is that a 5-0? It is, yeah. So I went 5-0 on my second set. Get rewarded with a Frillish, which isn't bad. I still need XLs for its evolution in the Ultra League. This is now the third set. Registeel lead again. Matchup I like with Dedenne, especially. I've seen triple steel teams. Mostly one of them will be ground steel, so it isn't the worst matchup. Opponent throws power up punch, no need to shield. Do put some damage down. Come in with Azu was really unnecessary. I should have probably just switched immediately because Dedenne is now at half HP, and the matchup with Registeel be as great as it would have been before if I had switched immediately. Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, this battle is going to be a loss because the opponent is running two Pokemon with fire type fast moves in the back. Yeah, as you see, Turtonator come out, and that's the end of this battle. No way I'm going to come back here. Even if this move goes unshielded, Turtonator will have plenty of HP. Yeah. And I come back in with Azum and decide to top left. So set 3 starts with an 0-1. As we get into the second battle, Turtonator lead again. Preferably, I'd see it on Dedenne than on Escavalier. This does quite some damage, not enough to knock it out. I decide to stay in this time to see how the matchup plays out, or if there's any sort of play. Opponent brings in Registeel, so I bring in Escav to... I mean, he's not going to be of any use against Turtonator, so I might as well bring him in here. Also, don't shield the move because I don't want Turtonator to be farming much energy. Head the Drill Run. Again, this is another one of these calls where luckily it still goes in my favor, but I mean, I should have Drill Run there. Opponent has Skarmory in the back. Again, as long as I shield the Brave Bird on Azu, I take both shields here. Shouldn't be an issue. The first one will never be a Brave Bird because he'll take a lot of damage from Ice Beams, or they will take a lot of damage from Ice Beams. Just one more Ice Beam to get to. This has to be the Brave Bird, so I shield it. one more bubble, and that's a win. Yeah, I don't think Dedenne is generally fantastic in the Fantasy Cup. I think it's just in the early meta, a lot of people seem to rely on Azu lead or Registeel lead, so Dedenne just forces a lot of opponents into early switches, and then I can win the RPS game most of the time with Escavalier and Azu in the back. That's what the team's essentially good at. I think this opponent is running the team I ran in my first 2 sets of the Fantasy Cup, which is Azu lead with Lucario and Escavalier in the back. Decided to safe swap Lucario. When I ran that team, I safe swapped Escavalier. Not gonna criticize him for it, but I think the team, I don't know, the Escav definitely beats out the fire fast move user, and then Lucario, who's very much a glass cannon, has more play, I thought, which is why I ran that team with Escav safe swap also. As this is another win, the opponent leaves the game by the looks of it. What's that, 2-1, I think, for this set? Oh yeah, the ELO's 2,444 now, so I think I've gained almost 100 points already. As we see, a Steelix. I think this was the only battle with a Steelix. Grand Bull. I think with Azu, I always feel shields are for other Pokemon. So I don't shield anything. I live the crunch, throw the ice beam, take both shields off my opponent. I lose switch, but I have 2 shields, and with 2 shields I should be able to take a win. We see Steelix come back in, but the one issue that Steelix has is it, even though it's a steel type, doesn't do exceptionally well into fairy types. So the opponent didn't charge all the way to the earthquake, which is why I didn't shield. Then throws exactly at earthquake energy, so I decide to, well, I don't want to put in hard brackets to hard read him. It was an easy read. Tries to catch the play rough on Azu. I don't know. Oh, I think I was going to try and finish Steelix off with Escav to have the discharge for Azu. But the opponent also switches. It's getting very close. It's a simultaneous KO, and I throw a play rough when I'm no longer debuffed, and a resisted discharge for the win. I think that puts this set at 3-1. So, I mean, as I said, I piloted this team horribly. I didn't look up any of the matchups for Dedenne in the meta. I just ran it and learned on the go, and I still managed to get all these wins through terrible piloting. And I mean, that swap into an acid spray nearly cost me both my shields. That was just terrible. That's what I mean. Dedenne really carried me. Don't know why the opponent didn't shield that, because Lucario's matchup into Dedenne, obviously the opponent doesn't know I have Azu yet, but yeah, that seemed pretty questionable to me. So this is a win, 4-1 in the set. I think with this set I get back to the rank elo. Oh yeah, because I was catching Carbink. I like to Mega Evolve a Pokemon to get the XL candy. And, oh no, I'm still just under the veteran Elo. So another Azu lead. This is what Dedenne was amazing at. Flygon, safe swap. Just go to the ice beams, try and throw in nice timing. Flygon can win this if it double shields, and I refuse to shield. I don't know what field matchups I would have to commit to flip, but usually I like just taking both shields for some reason, which did cost me dearly later on in my sets. But again, terrible piloting by me, and I still went positive in every single set up to now. So even take a Scorching Shand and shield the Dragon Claw. Amazing plays. That's what I'm renowned for. Tornado comes out, and I mean, it feels like this battle's lost. I can't honestly remember how it played out. Oh, Azu comes in. Yeah, I think this is too late. I even miss a few bubbles there. Yeah, this has to be a loss, even if I take out Azu, because Tornado will just... Oh no, I have a drill run charge, so that's what I mean. Terrible plays, but I still get the win. That's how good the team is. Honestly, I had nothing to do with gaining all this elo. It was purely the team being just... I would call it RPS in a way, but also just being weighted in a way that the opponent struggled to deal with. I don't want to... I did switch into Escavalier, which honestly isn't the best idea, but let's see how this ended up. Gee, that feels like a terrible... I don't know what I was thinking there. I think I wanted to keep the Dedenne around or something, but boy, that was a bad move. And I mean, this is not great either, because I think there's no way I can Thundershock that. Oh, I decide to switch and Registeel comes out. Yeah, that's a loss. I mean, that was just terrible switching a Escavalier into a Scorching Sand. But yet again, so I'm 1-0 in the set. I promise it will end positive. Even here, terrible lead. I switched to Escavalier. I don't know why I decided to start switching to Azu later on in my sets. Switch to Escavalier if you run this team versus Stunfisk. Brings out the Azu. Azu can win this, no problem. But I like to flip to get the Dedenne off the G-Fisk. I even Aerial Ace here, which I think if the opponent calls that, mightn't even knock out the Azu. I try to catch a move and then bring in my Azu, because I know that the opponent won't bring G-Fisk in here, but Flygon's in the back, so opponent's in big trouble. I think I shield this because my thought there was that attack probably does more damage than the Earthquake of G-Fisk. Charge some extra energy. Okay. I feel like I lost this battle in the end. Yeah, that was a nonsensical switch. Oh, the opponent still had Azu in the back as well. Forgot about that. Didn't throw the Ice Beam, and honestly, if I had thrown the Ice Beam, watch this, Play Rough and Earthquake CMP tie. So with the Ice Beam damage, that had been a knockout. Yet again, awful piloting by me. And I'm 0-2 down in the fourth set. This is the third battle. I promise, with how bad I'm playing, you might think that there's no way that this set ends positively, but it will. Haxorus lead. This is frustrating because even if the Haxorus runs Earthquake, and I don't know if the opponent was trying to make me think it was running Earthquake or catch the play rough on Azu, but it is a terrible switch by the opponent, even if they catch the play rough. I mean, what's Azu gonna do? I decide to shield just to keep the alignment, as well as forcing this Haxorus to do something. Oh, actually Stunfisk comes out, and my thinking here was Haxorus can't switch into Azu, so I switch into Azu and the opponent stays in with G-Fisk, which ends up not happening and the opponent switches to Haxorus. I knew I didn't want to switch Escav in because the opponent would then immediately switch to Haxorus and Haxorus would gain plenty of energy, and it had a lot already. I think it was 7 counters before it switched out, and then I just come in with Escav and shield. This is most likely a Rock Slide, but even if the opponent gets to the Earthquake, I think I still win this. Oh, I think I had a lag there. I meant to throw the Aerial Ace, but I still have an Ice Beam loaded. Again, terrible plays, but we're back to 2-2, I think, in this set already. So the team really hard carried. So terrible pilots can run this team. But maybe not in a day or two anymore. I think this is just because it was the early meta and people weren't expecting Dedenne to be run, because it's probably honestly not too good in this meta. It's just the way the meta played out that made Dedenne such a good pick for me. I think Skarmory comes back in here, yeah. Throw the Drill Run, both moves are resisted, so I think Drill Run has better damage per energy, but don't quote me on that. Just miss out on the Aerial Ace, which would have been great to get. Opponent switches to Haxorus. I have 2 fairies, so this should be one. I think a lot of Haxorus went to Earthquake energy, but they never had it except for one, and I think that was in my final set. I'll be showing you that. And I got into a situation where I had to call if it was an Earthquake or not. We'll be there pretty soon. Yeah, this is an easy win. So managed to turn the set around, get a 3-2. Again, terrible plays, still getting W's, and this takes me back to the veteran elo, which is great. Back to the elo I left off with my last video. I played a few sets now and again that I didn't record. It just didn't feel, I was busy setting up other things and it didn't feel right to create Pokemon Go content during that time. Also worked on Pokemon Nuzlocke. It's a big project that I want to get going, but I'll probably try and have at least a few Pokemon Go videos, especially when I find a funny pick or a good pick, as Dedenne was for me at this. What was it? I think it was within the first few hours of the Fantasy Cup being released. I think all these games were played within 4 or 5 hours of the Cup being active. Yeah, I shield another Acid Spray, which honestly, I misplays abound. I mean, they're everywhere. Then I don't shield this Drill Run, which You know, it was just, but it didn't really matter anymore. I can overcharge slightly, defeat the Escav, Lucario comes out, and now I wasn't sure if a play rough would one shot, which is why I went for the discharge. I also tried to catch a move, which I don't know. Misplays everywhere, but I still get the win. That's how good the team was for me. It was honestly unbelievable. Right, oh, yeah, I had to cut that recording short a little bit. As we get into the final 4 battles of set 5, yet another Azu lead. This is really where Dedenne shone. It forced so many switches by to the opponent. Like that's really what this team excelled at. That with the Dedenne pressure, obviously it was hard countered in the lead very frequently also. And this is yet another Flygon matchup where I refused to shield. And I think this time it came back to haunt me because the opponent fought for this so hard. I probably should have realized that they have another great counter to Dedenne in the back, otherwise they wouldn't have fought this hard. I also see him P-tie on the play rough, which isn't great. I think in the previous matchups I used to come in with Escav, but honestly this matchup doesn't seem horrible. Yeah, I think there's still a way to get a win here. Maybe not. Let's see. So Azu's gonna farm down with both. No, surely this is a loss. Yeah, gets to the move. Puts me way too low. The bubbles will take me out. Yeah, this is a loss. Reggie also didn't throw a move. So I think that's 1-1 on set 5. Dragonite lead. Great for the Dedenne. Also safe swap to Stunfisk. I think my thinking here in swapping to Azu was preventing the opponent coming back in with Dragonite. I wanted to see or force seeing it the opponent's third Pokemon. There's no way Dragonite would come into Azu. It's going to cost me shields though. Opponent's not going to make it easy for me. I decide to farm all the way down and use the shield. I think this is going to cost me dearly. Oh, I actually even caught a rock slide. Wow. Then decide the shield. Yeah, I think because the opponent was at 8 and the earthquake would have been overkill, I felt that it had to be a rock slide because they were going to want to throw 2 moves and the second one might knock out. As we see a terrible matchup for the Dedenne, I decide to just give up on it completely. And yeah, this means Dragonite's going to end on Escav. Took a while to switch. I have an aerial ace. I think my switch clock's up also. I have an ice beam loaded. Dragon breaths don't take Azu out that easily. It's gone and Bastiodon defeated. Don't understand why one would play Bastiodon in this meta. The amount of Escav, Lucario, Stunfisk, it just seems to be a bad pick, but who knows. Maybe the opponents I faced were just running not the meta picks, but anti-meta picks. Again, another great lead, and also I could have, well no, it was probably better to switch out immediately there. But again, Registeel isn't a counter to the Dedenne, which I think made me suspect there's another steel type in the back, possibly G-Fisk, who would have a good matchup into the Dedenne. So I think that was my thinking and switching. as I just try and get as much damage down as possible, get Azu into discharge range. Why did I come in with Azu? Oh yeah, I saved a drill run on Escav because I was suspecting that second steel type on it. It's actually Flygon, which is not good at all. Get the shield. Gonna have the shield to take the last one. Decide not to do it, and I think that costs me the game. Because even if I get this drill run, I'm gonna have to play rough on Dedenne, and I don't think I get there in time. I think I tried to call it, no, I should have called the Dragon Claw. Yeah, that's a defeat. If I called that Dragon Claw, I would have won. Oh, it's actually a win, because Escav had Aerial Ace. That's what I mean. Aerial Ace, honestly, better move than Mega Horn, because what will you Mega Horn in this meta anyway? Steel resists, Bug, Steel resists Bug, Fairy resists Bug, and I don't know if, well, Dragonite definitely, certainly resists Bug also because of the flying type. So Mega Horn, I don't see where it will have any place in the meta. So Aerial Ace is, I think, just gives Escav more play because it can bait. It has, I know it's not much energy difference between Aerial Ace and Drill Run, but it's just, I think it makes more sense to run Aerial Ace than Drill Run. As we see the opponent switch straight back into Excadrill, which I thought was a bit weird, but I went straight to my Escav. Oh yeah, and this was, my phone's battery was running low, and I have to apologize for the lag that's gonna income here, but yeah, it wasn't good. Actually, the opponent runs 2 ground types, which is probably gonna be the meta, I would say, for the rest of this cup. Because Dedenne was able to exploit a lot of people not running double ground, but yeah, that's a big loss there. So when you face those teams, not much you can do. As I get another 3-2, that's the 5th set done, 2515 elo, and we have a bit of an error here. Let me just adjust that to the size it should be at. I thought I had done that already. At this point I charged the phone a bit again. So, don't know where this error came from. Oh, this is going on, so this shouldn't be. Yeah, it's all falling apart right now. Let's remove that. Where's this thing here gone? It's gone to. Right, we'll just we'll leave it at that. Anyway, this is the final set. As we see Azumarill running Flash Cannon. Sorry, apologies again for. I thought everything was set up correctly, apparently not. As Haxorus comes back in. I have Azu, so I think I decided to throw the Ice Beam to prevent my attack stat being dropped. And Bastiodon comes out, so I in fact lose the first game in the 6th set, but will come back strong because Dedenne again was amazing. You see Registeel lead. This matchup is okay for Dedenne. no need to shield the first move. I think if the opponent throws immediately when they reach their move, it's a CMP tie on the third discharge, which if the attack isn't dropped knocks Registeel out, so it forces a shield. And I mean, yeah, this is just Dedenne taking shields off Registeel and winning switch, and then opponent comes in with Dragonite. Gonna have to shield another discharge here, the opponent, or yeah, lose their Dragonite. This is a very easy match. I think the opponent has Hurricane, which I was suspecting because I thought surely they switch out immediately. I was even hesitated for a moment throwing the Ice Beam because I thought the opponent would attempt to catch. And then they have Snarl, Shadow Granbull in the back. Throw Drill Run immediately, even if it's bad timing, because I don't want to take a close combat. Get back to 50% on set 6 with a 1-1. Let's see. Everything else was set up correctly for the video. It was just that the size wasn't set properly. Another Azu lead, which again forces the opponent to switch. In this matchup, I can comfortably stay in and throw a Thundershock before switching out because I resist the counters. In fact, even overdo it a little bit, staying in. Yeah, I'm gonna attempt to take this Escav out with just bubbles to have energy loaded for when their Azu comes back in. One play rough, I'll easily get to 2 here, which will take the Azu into range of a discharge, taking it out. Opponent plays well and charges to 99 energy, I think. So 1 bubble will be enough to 2 bubbles to get to play rough. Or Ice Beam, throws Ice Beam, which is honestly not a bad decision either. Discharge, and Lucario comes out, and I don't know why. I should have just switched to Escav, shield at whatever move they throw, and Lucario would have been defeated, but I decided to stay in, get Blaze kicked, and then just farm the Lucario down. That's 2-1 in the 6th set. Second to last battle here. Escav lead, which I reached the discharge before, so before they reach drill run, so I decided to stay in, throw discharge, switch to Azu, because I don't want to take a drill run to Escav. They charge to 2 drill runs and don't switch, which surprised me, but they have Primarina, so I throw the first of my play roughs. Second one was unshielded. Yeah, this is an easy farm down for Dedenne. Actually, I think I was calculating how many charms they still need to reach another Disarming Voice, and I switched just to potentially catch the Disarming Voice on a Steel type. It's revealed that they have 2 Water Fairies. I think ideally, if you run 2 Water Fairies in this cup, you'd want it to be Tapu Fini and Azu and not Primarina, but maybe they don't have an Tapu Fini, like I don't have one either. So throw an Aerial Ace, and this is the battle I meant. I win this one because I have Aerial Ace, because there's no way I would have reached a drill run in that situation. But I got to 2 Aerial Aces which force the shield that will give me the win. So Aerial Ace honestly was a great decision also on Escav, because I saw on PB Poke they recommend Mega Horn, and I just thought, what would I throw a Mega Horn at in this meta? So Aerial Ace I think is the way to go. I know Steel resists it also, but there are a few fighting types as Lucario who might be defeated with it. You can hit Dragonite with Aerial Ace, you can't really do much damage with Drill Run to it. So it just seemed like the better move. They have yet another Registeel lead. I think this time the Registeel dropped my attack and the first Sap Cannon, so the third discharge didn't knock it out. Forced me into taking it out before it got to yet another move. Going with Escav to finish Registeel off. They switch to Azu, who has Hydro Pump, and yeah, that's what, like this last set, the opponents were running special moves. I did not expect them to have throw a Play Rough because I'm worried a discharge doesn't do enough damage. Switch to Azu, and this is where I realized they went exactly to Earthquake Energy, shielded up. I probably would have. I don't know how much damage an Earthquake from Haxorus does to Azu because I've honestly never seen that happen, and I don't think that will ever be a thing that happens frequently, maybe in this meta. But yeah, that's an easy win. And I think there's one more battle. Oh no, that's it. There we go. I gained plenty of elo, honestly. Over 200. That was amazing running Dedenne. You should try it too.